It is Friday Night Frights with Couch Cooper. I'm going to be looking at Resident Evil 6 from 2012, a game that scored a 0.6 on Metacritic and also was followed up with a completely new version of the genre in the form of Resident Evil 7, which was like welcome to the family, first person. It made the slate get clean. We are looking at a bit of the campaign, and we are looking at that horrendous split screen ratio which also occurred in 5. Now, the weakest part of this game I consider to be the campaign. And what was the actual reason for Resident Evil 6 being so horrendous? A lot of it boiled down to the control scheme of all things. It was overcomplicated and not those traditional tank controls that we were used to, and things just felt strange. You can roll forward and back and left and right and quick shot people, do all manner of kung fu. It was not very Resident Evil feeling. There's even allocated cover. Every character has their own personalised on-screen UI. There is not a lack of effort in this game. All the enemies are very detailed, and if you look closely, the dissipation and breakdown of the zombies when they take fire is damned amazing for the year 2016 and base level PlayStation 4. Let me remind you of what we're looking at. This is the PlayStation 5 running the game, and it boosts the frames, crisp, amazing 60 frames per second, and probably only 720p on those two windows. But everything was workable. This isn't an ARC situation. You can read all of the writing and understand all instructions. And the frames do not alter when the screen is split. You don't have to avoid that campaign. It's broken down into character type, and you're sort of locked into whose story you're going to play, and you get to look at some different people from the lore and explore completely new names. So it's not a complete waste of time. You know, that sort of strange campy direction that 5 went in, like Hollywood, but not over trying with everything on an action set piece level. Resident Evil 6's campaign is just like that the whole damn way through. But the Mercenaries mode isn't. It's kind of a gem on the disc, and it comes with so much content against the campaign. Resident Evil 6 is very much an online focused section of the series, offering a spot for anybody to join whilst you're playing in co-op. Every level has 2 people as protagonists in it, so it's very up for that shared experience. There's very weird different game types like the cycle mode and the agent section, which is basically a PvP hunt down version, and also an ultra hard version of the Mercenaries mode, but you do have that standard. There's only really 2 sections that you can go in with that split screen against that campaign, and it is those mercenary levels. But here's the kicker, they're absolutely brilliant, and there's 11 of them at least to unlock from the start, and you get to choose from 5 different characters, including Leon and Chris, and they all have their different locked loadouts. Every single one of these 10 plus Mercenaries levels has tailored enemies, mini bosses and mid-tier bosses wandering around in them. They're all different. Some might have flyers. They've all got a particular route to work your way around. It's one of the more ideal local co-op zombie modes out there on the planet. I think a lot of you will agree with me that Resident Evil 5 had some of the best maps and characters to play within Mercenaries. One of the caveats with getting that game base was that you had to finish it to unlock some of those mercenary levels. Resident Evil 4 was also the same. Think Village has got a similar setup, but the joy of this with the local co-op, every single map there and available and character, you have got so many hours to play without even having to touch that ridiculous campaign. Got to talk about its QTE stuff, quick time events. I think 2016 must have been the tail end of it being very popular in AAA games and in Resident Evil games. The old stick waggle to get out of things, a bit of button bashing, but it mixes them up. Every time a zombie grabs you, you don't know which one you've got. You are in so much panic when things go wrong in this game. But combined with the amount of unadulterated kung fu you can come out with, it makes you feel very overpowered in certain sections. It's kind of this crazy balance. If this was only a campaign and we didn't have this beautiful workable game model within Mercenaries, Resident Evil 6 would be dead in the water. And I think the devs kind of knew that. That's why this is available to you off the bat and with all of the bells and whistles that come with one of the better mercenary modes. This has like a trinket system where you can buy certain perks, put them in to an alignment list that you can then switch out prior to going into a map. So you've almost got a tiny bit of loadout selection, and against which character you favour, there's quite a lot of pliable variables, far more than should be in a smaller, tiny bit of extra content section of a Resident Evil game. Also frickin' 12 years old and looks and runs like this in split screen. I know that aspect ratio is a little bit jarring, but you kind of completely forget about it because it's such an enthralling and urgent game model. I should actually explain exactly what that is. Top right of our screens we have a number that is ticking or flashing, and this is the amount of zombies you have killed in a row, and if you do not meet the quota, that number disappears and resets. It's all about building up the perfect mercenary 35-40 hit combo, then releasing from that map. You're also timed. You have to look for these glowing pillars that give you a minute and a half. It's all about rinsing those and then going for that big combo run. It is a run system. If you're not prudent, you will run out of ammo or ordnance explosives, so you have to sort of hold on to things, use all of your close quarters when you can to save bullets, because the end will throw bigger, higher tier enemies at you. The longer you're in this map, the crazier it gets. All of it just equals loads of fun. There's no tethering. You're not constantly shouting where the other one is. You can look for the other person in a direction on a single hit of circle. Kind of genius. And once you try it, you'll be bitten by the bug. If you've never played a Mercenaries mode, I do recommend RE5 or even the RE4, but it isn't local co-op. But this is sat there probably untouched with a lot of you. You may have got this way back and just thought, no, that campaign is dire, and that's completely understandable. I've just looked and it's still going at $19.99 US on the store. I remember a couple of years after this coming out, it being one of the cheapest and most frequently placed pre-owned games on the shelf. I think I saw it for about £2 to £3. I'd be interested to see what it retails at now pre-owned, because I think owning all of the Resident Evil physical is the way forward. You mentioned something about Friday Night Frights at the beginning of the video. I did, yeah. For the month of Halloween, I'm going to be doing a Friday Night Frightening video game review. There's only one Friday left, I think. I will see it down there. Bag battle up next, mate. It's not called that. You do that joke every time. Tell them the real name, Scrotum Skirmish. Hello, Couch Coop Services. How can I help you? This is Marjorie speaking. Couch Coop must reign supreme. I've gone Yoda. How is my egg-like head ever going to pull in the numbers that a yoga woman does?